For 18 months, a serial killer terrorized America's highways. This is how the FBI finally caught him. Vincent Bradley had driven 18-wheelers for 23 years. He knew every truck stop from Los Angeles to Jacksonville, every rest area along Interstate 40, every dark corner where drivers parked for the night. Federal investigators would later describe him as methodical, patient, and utterly ruthless. In November 2018, the body of Sarah Martinez was discovered behind a Pilot truck stop outside Amarillo, Texas. The 28-year-old waitress had been strangled. 2 months later, another body turned up at a travel center in Little Rock. Same method, same brutal efficiency. By March 2019, 7 victims had been found at truck stops spanning 6 states, all along the Interstate 40 corridor. The FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit recognized the pattern immediately. This wasn't random violence. It was systematic hunting. The killer understood the rhythm of truck stops, knew when to strike, how to blend in among the constant flow of drivers. Security footage showed the same distinctive Peterbilt truck at 4 different crime scenes. That truck belonged to Vincent Bradley, age 47, of Nashville, Tennessee. His employer, Cross Country Freight, confirmed he'd driven the I-40 route exclusively for 2 years. His logbooks placed him at every truck stop where a body was found, within hours of each murder. On April 2, 2019, federal agents issued arrest warrants for Vincent Bradley on 7 counts of first-degree murder. By then, he had vanished without a trace. The FBI added him to the 10 most wanted list with a warning that sent chills through trucking communities nationwide. Bradley was armed, extremely dangerous, and intimately familiar with America's highway system. He could be anywhere, at any truck stop, hunting his next victim. Vincent Bradley's last known location was the Love's Travel Stop in Flagstaff, Arizona, on March 30, 2019. Security cameras captured his Peterbilt pulling into the lot at 11:47 p.m. By dawn, the truck sat abandoned, keys still in the ignition, sleeper cab emptied of personal belongings. Within hours, the FBI established a multi-state task force headquartered in Memphis. Special Agent Derek Hamilton, a veteran of serial investigations, coordinated teams across Tennessee, Arkansas, Texas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, and Arizona. The manhunt consumed 45 federal agents and cost over $2 million. Investigators followed every lead from Bradley's past. They interviewed his ex-wife in Nashville, his estranged daughter in Phoenix, former co-workers who described him as quiet, reliable, and utterly forgettable. His bank accounts showed no activity. His cell phone went dark. Credit cards unused. The FBI tracked Cross Country Freight's employment records going back 5 years, mapping every route Bradley had driven, every truck stop he'd visited. They discovered 17 more unsolved murders along his previous routes, crimes dating back to 2015. The body count kept climbing. Agents flooded truck stops across the Southwest with Bradley's photograph. They coordinated with highway patrol units, monitored bus stations, airports, rental car agencies. Tips poured in daily, sightings from California to Florida, none credible. Then the trail went completely cold at that Arizona truck stop. Bradley had simply vanished into the vast American highway system he knew better than anyone. No witnesses, no vehicle, no trace. Federal investigators faced a chilling reality. Bradley could have assumed any identity, found work at any trucking company, resumed killing at any location. He was a predator who understood how to disappear in plain sight among America's 3 million truck drivers. The highway system that had enabled his crimes now protected his escape. For 18 months, the FBI pursued Vincent Bradley across America's highway system like hunters tracking a ghost. Special Agent Hamilton coordinated surveillance teams at over 200 truck stops from California to the Carolinas. They installed his photograph in driver lounges, equipped state troopers with facial recognition technology, and enlisted the trucking community in an unprecedented manhunt. The operation generated over 500 tips monthly. Drivers reported suspicious activity at truck stops in Nevada, Louisiana, Michigan. Each lead demanded immediate response. FBI teams racing across state lines, only to find another dead end. Bradley seemed to anticipate their every move. In September 2019, a security guard at a Flying J outside Oklahoma City called 911. He'd spotted a man matching Bradley's description fueling a Kenworth with Texas plates. FBI tactical teams surrounded the location within 20 minutes. The truck was gone. Surveillance footage showed a figure fleeing on foot into nearby woods just as sirens approached. They'd missed him by 7 minutes. Meanwhile, the bodies kept appearing. 2 more victims in Georgia, 1 in Tennessee, another in Colorado, all at truck stops, all bearing Bradley's signature method. The FBI realized with growing dread that he'd never stopped killing. He was simply more careful now, more selective about his hunting grounds. Agent Hamilton studied maps until his eyes burned, tracking patterns within patterns. He deployed undercover agents as truck stop employees, coordinated with Canadian authorities along border crossings, monitored social media for trucker chatter about suspicious activity. The most wanted listing generated massive publicity. Bradley's photograph appeared on television screens nationwide, in truck stop restrooms, on highway billboards. Yet somehow, he remained invisible among the constant flow of long-haul drivers. Months turned into years. The FBI's most expensive manhunt in decades produced nothing but frustration. But Agent Hamilton never gave up. Neither did the 44 other agents working the case. They knew Vincent Bradley was out there, somewhere on America's highways, and they would find him. On October 15, 2020, everything changed. DNA evidence from a 1998 cold case in Nashville, a truck stop murder that had gone unsolved for 22 years, matched genetic material found at 3 of Bradley's recent crime scenes. The FBI's combined DNA index system had finally connected the dots. But the real breakthrough came when forensic genealogists analyzed the old evidence using advanced genetic sequencing technology unavailable in 1998. The DNA belonged to Vincent Bradley, but not the Vincent Bradley the FBI had been hunting. Agent Hamilton stared at the lab report in disbelief. The real Vincent Bradley had died in a Memphis hospital in 2015. The killer had stolen his identity 3 years later, using forged documents to obtain a commercial driver's license and employment with cross-country freight. They'd been chasing a ghost with someone else's name. Within hours, FBI computer analysts cracked a false identity. The killer's real name was Thomas Ray Hutchinson, age 51st, a former long-haul driver from Knoxville with a 1997 arrest for aggravated assault. His fingerprints, buried in Tennessee criminal records, matched prints lifted from Bradley's abandoned truck. Federal marshals immediately surveilled Hutchinson's last known address, a rundown apartment complex in East Nashville where his elderly sister still lived. On October 18th, surveillance teams spotted a man matching Hutchinson's description entering the building at 2:30 a.m., carrying a truck stop duffel bag. Agent Hamilton coordinated the operation from FBI headquarters in Memphis. Tactical teams positioned themselves around the apartment complex while investigators confirmed the target's identity through facial recognition software. After 18 months, 547 days of manhunt, the net was finally closing. Hutchinson had made the fatal mistake that ends most manhunts. He'd returned to family. The man who'd successfully vanished into America's highway system couldn't resist visiting his sister one last time. The FBI prepared for capture. After nearly 2 years and over $2 million spent, the cross-country killer's run was about to end. At 4:47 a.m. on October 19, 2020, FBI tactical teams surrounded the East Nashville apartment complex. Thomas Ray Hutchinson had spent the night in apartment 2OB with his sister, unaware that federal agents had been watching every entrance since dawn. Special Agent Hamilton coordinated the operation from the parking lot, speaking quietly into his headset as tactical teams moved into position. After 547 days of manhunt, he wasn't taking any chances. Hutchinson was considered armed and extremely dangerous, a serial killer who'd evaded capture for 18 months. At exactly 5:15 a.m., agents breached the apartment door. They found Hutchinson sitting calmly at the kitchen table, drinking coffee, as if he'd been expecting them. He raised his hands without resistance and spoke his first words to law enforcement since disappearing. "How I wondered when you'd figure it out." Federal investigators discovered the apartment contained a detailed map of truck stops across 15 states, marked with red pins at locations where bodies had been found and blue pins at potential future targets. Hutchinson had been planning to expand his killing spree far beyond Interstate 40. In custody, Hutchinson confessed to 23 murders spanning 5 years, far more than the FBI had originally suspected. He'd been using stolen identities to move freely through America's trucking industry, killing with methodical precision at truck stops nationwide. On March 12, 2022, a federal jury convicted Thomas Ray Hutchinson on 23 counts of first-degree murder. The judge sentenced him to death, calling his crimes a reign of terror that violated the safety of America's highways. Families of victims watched from the courtroom gallery as justice was finally delivered. Agent Hamilton, now promoted to Assistant Special Agent in Charge, testified that the Hutchinson case demonstrated the FBI's unwavering commitment to justice. He used the very highways that connect our country to hunt innocent people, Hamilton told reporters. "We never stopped believing we'd find him." Today, Thomas Ray Hutchinson sits on federal death row in Terre Haute, Indiana. The cross-country killer's 18-month reign of terror is over. America's highways are safer because 45 FBI agents refused to let a serial killer disappear into the night.